delivering long-term sustainable competitive advantage has become incredibly difficult. And that is because the consumer is moving at a phenomenal rate. So your ability to move with them over time is incredibly difficult. So coming up with businesses that are focused on the consumer and are determined and agile enough to follow them year after year is incredibly difficult in the current environment.
And we came up with a number of different strategies, but luckily one of them worked incredibly well. And this was at the time the idea, well, we've got a brand lots of people have heard of. We've spent years perfecting these products. We've got a heavily invested in automated factory. Why shouldn't we sell this in shops?
So Graze has changed enormously over the last 10 years. For maybe the first 6 or 7 years, it focused purely on online sales. However, as time went on, we felt that there was a far bigger market to be addressed, which was the traditional market. And we asked ourselves, how by having this online presence could we approach that market in a different way? What we'd found is that being an online business helped you build a brand, perfect your product, build infrastructure such as our factory, all of which are things which help when you eventually go into the competitive retail space.
We built our own factory, which let us control the product, but it also let us iterate things incredibly quickly. And it was great fun innovating online. It's not like selling through a retailer. The retailer needs everything to be perfect. Online, your consumers quite enjoy you playing around.
So Graze has a creative studio within its office. This is quite unusual, as is having an in-house creative team. This is very useful for things such as ownership of the brand, but also speed. Having this rapid prototyping area means that teams can make up product prototypes very quickly, show them to retailers or put them on the shelf, or even just discuss them within the business. We think this kind of making real prototypes is a really key way that we go about innovating, making it real, stay away from the PowerPoint.
We were very worried about Americans and portion size. There's a certain reputation around this area, but they were excited that we'd portion controlled the product. But there were other issues. The product would need to change. The flavor profiles, the cultural associations, etc. And there was one absolutely enormous monster problem, and that was the mail, and how much bigger the United States is than the UK.
Launching in any international territory as a consumer goods brand is very challenging. What do the consumers want there? Who are your true competitors? How do you raise your brand awareness from zero? What happens if you make a mistake and the retailers won't allow you to come back on shelf for many years, but you've already put a lot of fixed cost into the market? I've been involved in lots of international launches which haven't worked well because of these things. I think the way we approached America was very different. We went online first, and we went with a very minimum viable product mindset. We created a business over there knowing that it probably wasn't going to be perfect, but we had a large amount of data and we were set up to iterate and change to fit that local market.
I think the thing which is lost in the debate online is growing. And that excites lots of people, but the vast majority of the market is still traditional. And that's very clear to me, in snacks especially. So if you can come up with a clever way of disrupting the traditional market, that is probably a bigger opportunity than addressing the digital market.
I'm really thrilled to be here at Joelson speaking. They helped the management team with our last transaction to Unilever, and I thought they did a fantastic job. And I'm very impressed of their position within the food industry, and especially the startup food industry. So when they invited me, of course, I'd want to be part of and helping and in that community as well, just as they are.